Hello and welcome to InspirHere. My name is Shivali Patel and I'm here with.
Queen Benjarat.
And this is the show where we talk about all things evolution. So if you are somebody who is constantly looking to elevate your essence to the next level, then this is the show for you. As usual, we have a topic for today, and that is self-confidence. So today's topic is really stepping into self-confidence. So I'll start with a simple question. Queen, what do you feel like self-confidence really is? Or what is confidence to you?
It would be that what I do, and then I feel most joy. Because when I feel most joy, then I don't think about what the other perception towards me, right? So that's I have the most confidence. Or when I do the things that I am very expertise in, with the experience I have, for instance, with the beauty queen. I remember when I started enter the competition the first time 3 years ago, I didn't have the confidence that I have now, because it was associated with like body images and your knowledges. You have to be well-rounded. You have to be very persuasive talker as well. So that was very hard in the beginning. But then with the years has passed and then I gained more knowledges and experiences. So I became more confident.
Yeah, I think for me, confidence has a lot to do with not only embracing who you are, all parts of you, flaws included, but
Mm-hmm.
also a lot to do with mental toughness and how you are able to respond in the world, right? When you walk into a room, it's not really caring about other people's perceptions. Uh, and that's not to say that you can't walk into a room and embrace yourself, yet still be worried about what other people might think. But it's knowing that at the end of the day, their perception of you is more of a reflection of them than it is of you, right? And
Exactly.
not caring, I think has a lot to do with self-confidence. It's in the way you walk, it's in the way that you behave, it's in the way you respond to situations.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you, for me, I think beauty pageants shaped me quite a bit. I started quite young and on and off I would compete, but it was always more so for family building time. I never had really a coach throughout the years. It was just my mom and I kind of spending some quality girl time together and having fun with it, you know? And when you go into these competitions, I think what a lot of people don't realize is you meet so many cool people. I mean, I met you through that competition and here we are having these conversations that are expansive, right? Um and you go out and you do amazing things for your community, and all of that is kind of behind a curtain for a lot of the world, right? They don't see what goes into it, the effort you put in, how it drives you for goals, how it builds your confidence, how you do all these things. But like you, it's definitely shaped me in many ways. I just feel like there is a lot, though, that goes into that build. So, identity is a very complex thing. Do you feel like you've had certain moments or maybe action items that you've done to help you kind of boost that sense of self?
When I have to go through the drama, actually, while going through all of the dramas in the industry that I was working in, or still working in right now, has shaped me into a stronger person and have more sense of what I should prioritize in my life and what kind of boundaries I should set for certain kind of people. Before that, I would say that I'm kind of a people pleaser, and I'm still am. So I'm working towards that, how to unlock that and prioritize only who's really matter the most to me. But how does it related to confidence, right? When you go through all of those dramas or incidents that make you feel devalue yourself in a certain ways, then I will then trying to validate what's really happening within me, my inner conflicts within me. The way I responded to them back maybe 2 years ago would be different than now. 2 years ago, I would rush it out with angers and I would feel offended. But then when it comes to right now, I come from the different perspective and more understanding and like I say from the beginning, everything is from experiences. And for me, when it's hardship, it create even more powerful confidence in me. Once I overcame it, I know that I am much stronger and I'm ready for more.
Between 3 years ago, right? And now, that shift that you had in
Mhm.
empathy and connecting with people and fostering that deep sense of understanding, what changed for you? Where was the point where you were like, oh, maybe I need to think about it from somebody else's perspective?
Well, to be honest, I think when you are on the loop for so many time and you have your own mechanism in your brain, that Queenie, it's time to stop it enough for the torment that you are doing to yourself. And also because luckily environment, I would have to gratefully say that I have my best friend
Hmm.
who has been with me supporting and understanding my family, my partner. So everyone in my life, they are very positive influence on me. So it helps a lot for me to move over the struggles quicker than when I was dealing with it myself.
It's like with anything, right? You have to have a good balance of your internal and external
Mm-hmm.
environment. But on top of that, I will say for me, there's a question I absolutely love. And I love asking people this question too, because it really gets you thinking.
Mm-hmm.
And that question is when you think about your ideal self, right? The ideal version of you, not a
Mm-hmm.
role model, the ideal version of you. What are
Mm-hmm.
those 5 characteristics that you would hope that ideal version of you embodies?
Mm-hmm.
And most people, if you're really trying to be honest with yourself, you're going to require some time to
Yeah.
actually pick those 5 words.
Mm-hmm.
And once you've picked those 5 words and you are in a situation, you have to think about it as if how not how am I going to react right now? Don't be so emotionally reactive, right? It's about being proactive, but how would the ideal version of me respond to this situation? Because 99% chance is the way that that ideal version of you responds is a completely different way
Mm-hmm.
than the
Who
way
you
that
are.
you respond in the current
The right
moment, because
time.
you guys have different experiences, you're a different person. I mean, I remember being in a conversation with a friend of mine, and she basically was dealing with this hardship
Mm-hmm.
with a colleague of hers, and it was a power struggle I was listening about, right? And this woman has worked so hard to get to where she is. And somehow, as amazing as she is, as well-rounded as she is, as knowledgeable as she was, right? There was insecurity in the foundation of all of her questions or in her responses.
Mm-hmm.
And so I asked her if she's ever responded. I asked her, okay, look, like you have the money, you have the career, you have everything you want. Would you respond differently? And she said, yeah, because what she says to me at that point wouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, then why does it matter to you now?
No, yeah.
Because material values are material values at the end of the day. What really matters, right, is the inside of, and I know that's cliche, but it's true, right? You're
Mm-hmm.
not gonna take your material possessions into the next life
Yeah,
or
exactly.
into the afterlife, whatever those of you listening are believing in. But it changes everything because we get so caught up in the materialism of things or in a power
Mhm,
struggle and in competitiveness, and self-confidence
mhm,
is about you, about
mhm.
your belief in yourself.
And some people also confuse when we mention about self-confidence, they confuse it with like power, sort kind of thing. And it's both your ego and sometimes self-confidence, some people might think that it's egoistic or self-centered, which you have to understand and know the thin line between it, that you don't want to cross to the other side and you careless about the others. Self-confidence should be something that it's good for you, and it's spread out the positiveness within you to the others. So whoever approach you feel the welcoming, feel the beauty of you. It's like you blossoming all the time. It should be that way. Imagine how many people we interacted with, right? Especially when you are the public figures and you have to associate with your fans, with your team, and there's many more artists that you have to work with. And to be among other who have different background, different experiences, it's very difficult, right? But um, at the end, when you know that your placement that you put within yourself as a self-confident person, and if
Yeah.
you already put yourself as this ideal self, then it will have a positive effects in your life. Because when we were speaking about how you have a gratitude lens on the other episodes,
Yes.
yeah. Mm-hmm. And
Yes.
it's one of the practice that could lead you to self-confidence too. And when you combine all the methods and all the tools that shift you into the positive path, I'm surely that's when you gain your self-confidence and you will care less of the negative comments or feedbacks from the others because you see the value within you. Do you have sometimes have like negative self-talk? Because a lot of us, we have negative self-talk without actually realizing that it's happened. But do you actually recognize when it happened
So
in your
I had a
habits?
year I had a year where I solely focused on the way I spoke to myself. So my first book was called Positive Self-Talk,
Wow.
actually. Yeah. It was an entire book I wrote about dealing with difficult people with negative self-talk, how you reframe that mentality, where you find the origins of where it stemmed from and how you completely can replace that. That was my very first book. And so I had an entire year that I had focused on even before I wrote that book, where it transformed the way that I think and the way that I talk to myself. But also, when you do those things for yourself, you begin to notice it in other people and the way that they speak to themselves. And so, kind of finding that middle floor where you are able to uplift somebody without it necessarily, uh, you know, affecting you is an important skill set to learn, but it's also something that requires patience and time and trying, right? You have to try for it to happen. So for negative self-talk, I think every now and then, every blue moon, I'll catch myself like, oh, and then I'll be like, no, I need to reframe the way I say that because I don't even believe in saying things that are remotely not great. It's not, oh, I don't want to be sick. It's always, I want to always be happy and healthy. So even if you're sick in the present moment, not necessarily focusing on that being the focal point of my sentence, you know?
Mm.
I think a lot of times the aura and beliefs that we have for ourselves radiate outwards. And in words, while words are what you give them power to be, right? At the same time, I do pick and choose my words cautiously.
Mm.
And I try to focus on having a growth mindset. So, self confidence, remember that when it comes to that, it's not so much about failure or fear or competitiveness or are you better than somebody. It's just embracing that it's always a journey, right? I mean, we call InspirHere's tagline the journey of evolution, and that's exactly what it is. It's you're going to make mistakes, you're going to fall down, you're going to do, whatever. You're going to have days that you're embarrassed of
Mm.
something you did. And at the end of the day, knowing that sometimes it's helpful to know that nobody cares.
Mm.
You could mortify yourself. I mean, uh I was in where was I recently? I was in Stockholm recently. And I went to I was trying to walk out of the hotel, and I walked I walked through the hotel into this restaurant where there was free breakfast being served. I had a biking tour to get to. And so I was on my way out from the restaurant, but instead of walking through the hotel the way I'd come in, I decided to use the restaurant's front door. It's right there. I figured why not. So I open the door. The first set is a glass door. I'm on my phone to like pull up the address where I'm going because it's a 15-minute walk. I want to make sure I get there 15 minutes early. And I had a little bit of jitters because I hadn't ridden a bike in quite some time. So I remember being excited, but I used to love biking as a kid. And so I thought, okay, like I'm excited about this. I'm a little bit nervous. I want to get there in time so I can make sure that I can actually ride one still. And I was looking down on my phone. I opened the first door and I walk inside. That door closes. The second glass door, so it's a glass box. All right, everybody can see you. There's a lot of people that are eating breakfast. I tried to open the second door, and it wouldn't open. And I'm like, what the heck? So I tried again, and it was still closed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, oh, this door is closed. I'll just walk out the other way. I tried to open the first door I came out of. That was also closed. It was locked. So I was stuck in this glass box, and I had obviously, walked into a place that was locked, or that I shouldn't have walked into because I was on my phone. Don't be on your phone, guys, when you should be aware. But I'm thinking it's just a simple exit to the restaurant, and there's a bunch of people sitting here. Didn't think of much of it. The first door locks, the second door doesn't open. I'm making eye contact with a guy who's eating breakfast, and he's having the time of his life. I can tell he's amused. I'm panicking.
You're like
I'm already nervous.
in an aquarium.
I know. Yes, exactly what I felt like. Like I was in an aquarium. I was the main entertainment, but I'm already mortified and I'm nervous about this biking thing already. I'm just completely overanalyzing the entire situation in my head. And I try to open the door. There's a switch below the door that I click and I open, and I see it open a bit. And I'm like, oh, thank God. But then there's a sign tucked into the door. So the sign falls over and I just feel like a klutz. And so I remember just like kind of pushing the sign to the side a bit and opening the door, and I take a sharp left and just immediately start walking. Didn't bother looking at my phone, didn't like look back, didn't anything. And then I look down after I've been walking for maybe 3 or 4 minutes, and I'm going the opposite direction. And I've been walking further and further and further, and I'm like, I'm not walking back in front of that I'm not walking past my hotel again. The heck? I don't want to see that guy I made eye contact with and just made a fool of myself in front of. Like, do I know this man? No. Am I going to see this man again? Absolutely not. But did I want to go back? No, I didn't. No. And so I kept walking, and I had to end up taxiing to the location because I walked. I think by the time that I noticed and I was trying to figure out which way to go back, it was another 5 minutes. I would have been later than I wanted to be to the place. And I really cared about getting there on, earlier so I could actually try the bike. And it was a situation, I had a good laugh about it moments after it happened. I remember even letting my friends know what happened. And I'm a confident person, I'm a confident person. I would consider myself very self-assured. I'm self-aware. I don't really care what people think as long as I'm not hurting anybody and I'm doing something that makes me happy. I feel empowered most of the time. But did I have a moment? Absolutely. And it happened.
It's quite embarrassing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a glass box. Yes. I mean, the worst possible setup that could happen. And it's free breakfast, free. So everybody shows up to this thing, right? It's like an entire buffet of fantastic food. Yeah. It was a moment.
Yeah. It must be entertaining to watch someone get stuck in an elevator.
Yeah. A couple days later, I was sitting where the guy had sat right in front of the door. And I remember looking, and for a second I thought, wait, is that a mirror?
You were hoping someone
I couldn't even tell if it was a mirror or not, but I don't think it was. It was just hard to tell. So That's all to say, I was overthinking the entire
Mm-hmm.
situation for no reason, right? That person probably forgot about it 5 minutes later. You don't I mean,
Yeah.
you meet somebody
Mm-hmm.
and you wanna believe that you have a lasting impression, and sometimes you do, right? But those moments where we are
Mm-hmm.
completely embarrassing ourselves and we think that it's the end of God knows what, it's really not,
Yeah.
right? Life goes on.
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of just embracing and being okay with having those moments
Mm-hmm.
and laughing at yourself, having the capacity to laugh will
Yeah.
just be a really paramount step in finding your self confidence. If you feel like
Mm-hmm.
you need to wait for a certain version of you, there's always going to be something. You shouldn't wait for something to live the life you imagine for yourself. That should be now. You should respond the way that your ideal self would respond now, and live, because life is too short to live it any other way.
Before we end this episode, I just want you to share the little tips of how to build your self confidence, and I would share mine too. Let's do like three each.
To build self confidence, do the things that you are good at more. Simple. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, the
Your
whole
strength.
time you're growing up, you're told to focus on things that you're not good at. Don't do that. Don't linger. Do the things that empower you, that make you feel good about yourself, um, that you are good at, but also do the things that empower you. Oftentimes,
Mm-hmm.
I know for me, things that I'm terrified of, once I take that first step and I've tried something new and maybe started to get the hang of it, you start to feel good because you've learned something, you've expanded, you've grown. And that's now a new experience that you can say that you've experienced of the world, right? The world is a massive place that offers so much. Why not take advantage of that? And the more you do, the more in love you'll fall with yourself. Every time you have a spouse, you'll want
Mm-hmm.
to, when you have a partner, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to go do this and this and this and this and this with this person. Why not do it with yourself? Do it with yourself. Build that relationship with yourself
Yeah.
and be
Yeah.
kind to yourself. So do the things that you are good at, that are your strong suits, and that will build self-confidence because you'll know that you're actually good at the stuff that you feel empowered in. Do the stuff that you're terrified, right? And that will expand you in ways that also help you kind of build on that identity that you want to
Mm-hmm.
eventually have. Um, what was my third one? I said a third one.
Self love. Date yourself.
Third one, self-love, self-love. Third one is self-love, right? Just be kind to yourself, pay attention to the way that you talk to yourself, and really be intentional about your words. I think those would be my three.
And you actually stole my last one. It's your last one, actually. I wanted to
Okay.
be the first one. Like, date yourself. I would take that one too. Because I it was a joke, you know. I was telling one of my friend in Bangkok because she's always telling me that she expected people to do things for her, like on a date, right? And I was like, why don't you do it for yourself? Just take yourself out, buy yourself flower, take yourself to a nice restaurant, you know, and treat yourself as a date. What would you want your partner to do to you? Just do exactly you want. And I honestly do that sometimes when I didn't have my partner. I actually still do that even with my partner, you know, because we are in a long distance. So I have a lot of time to do things for me. I enjoyed it. And for instance, like to go to the cinema by myself, I didn't get to do that until I'm like 28, which is this year. So it's the first time ever just like, okay, let's go to the movie, Queenie. Let's go watch some movies, have popcorn, enjoy, and laid back. And it's a great feeling. It's like a small accomplishment, but it fulfills something inside of you that you don't need someone to validate your value because you're able to create your safe zone and your safe space by yourself. And the second thing I would say that to gain the self confidence is to practice self talk. positive affirmation. It's very important. Mindfulness practice, especially in the morning, right after you wake up. If you don't do the practice, what I normally do is just turn on some affirmation videos or podcasts that I know that it would subconsciously go into my data in my brain, and it will then
Since
change. Yes.
since you just said affirmations, would you like to share maybe 3 to 5 affirmations now? And our listeners can repeat them.
Okay. I am beautiful.
I am
I
beautiful.
am loved.
I'm
Yes.
loved. Okay.
And the last one, I am free.
I am free. Yeah, for my ladies that are listening, I hope you are repeating these to yourself. I say, I am powerful. I can do anything that I set my mind to. I'm confident. I'm worthy. And just write out affirmations that let you feel empowered throughout the day. So things that are very specific to you. I
Mm,
mean, Queen and I here did some generic ones, right? But maybe you are struggling with, I don't know, feelings of imposter syndrome, right? Something we talked about in our last episode.
mm,
And maybe it's like a work related thing. Then write down affirmations that make you feel
mm,
otherwise and look at yourself in the mirror and repeat them to
mm,
yourself. And as you start to believe that, you internalize that belief for yourself, it will grow within you. Make sure that you're surrounding yourself with the right people, guys. I mean, this is just, it's basics, right? When you are surrounding yourself with people that allow you to feel good about yourself, it will really, really, really help kind of amplify everything that affirmations and the work that you put in for yourself does too. I, like you, also like doing things by myself, just doing the solo
mm.
dates. You know, there it's very, very nice.
To gain self-confidence is to talk to many people because you will get more inspired. Like you get new inspirations, new experiences, new ideas from them. And then you would see that now you have more knowledges that can then adapt into the path of your life. That's it, mine.
Yes, yeah,
That's all
and you
three
know,
of mine.
when you're talking to a lot of people, I think something else you'll recognize is similar patterns. You'll find a lot of people that resonate with
Mm,
you, and feeling
true.
like there's common ground will really help boost your confidence because you realize you're not alone, right? You're not doing, you live, you navigate through life alone, but you're not alone. A lot of people experience the same experiences that you have, and talking to a lot of people will help you recognize that. Last thing I'll say is put on an amazing outfit that makes you feel good about yourself. I mean, I know it's very superficial, right? But sometimes doing things that are superficial for yourself will still work. And I know that I am very productive when I put on a great outfit that makes me feel like a boss ass bitch. You know? So
Mhm.
just kind of really becoming the ideal version of you that feels empowered and always is a journey. It's a process. And I hope you learn how to fall in love with that. All right. So that is it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please like, hit subscribe, and leave us a comment if you're watching this on YouTube. We would love to hear from you. Let us know what you do for self confidence, or if there is something that you're kind of working on right now that you would love for us to talk about in a later episode. With that, we do conclude our episode. Thank you so much for tuning in to InspirHere, and we'll catch you next time.